Good morning.
Good morning.
What is an apology? The Merriam-Webster definition says that an apology is a statement saying that you are sorry about something or an expression of regret for having done something wrong. I think that definition is fine, but my version of a meaningful apology is a sincere, honest, and sympathetic statement meant to correct a wrong. True apologies are hard to come by these days, as sometimes are not meant to correct a wrong, but are rather just said to get past a bad situation. In order to help me explore examples of meaningful apologies, I watched a news special on ABC Family about Representative John Lewis, who was a freedom rider with Dr. Martin Luther King, forgiving Ellen Wilson, an ex-Ku Klux member, for attacking him for 48 years for entering a whites-only waiting room. I can tell Mr. Wilson truly meant his apology to Mr. Lewis based on the sincerity in his voice. Watching this made me think about how much humility it took for both of these men to have an honest, candid conversation about an unfortunate event in history that was heard about around the world, and then to apologize and offer forgiveness. After watching this video, I started to think more specifically about my own experiences with humility and making sincere apologies. When Corey and I were little and chubby, we always used to get in trouble about arguing with each other. Back then, the arguments were mainly about who ate the last of what, and our mom would literally make us reconcile, hug, and sometimes we had to kiss each other on the cheek. We took L's back in those days. Those apologies were never really serious, but rather just to get out of punishment. The first time I meaningfully apologized was to Corey. I remember it like it was yesterday. Corey and I were in the back of my aunt's apartment complex, playing around. All of a sudden, Corey took off sprinting, not very fast. And for some reason, I picked up the rock and threw it at Corey's head. It hit Corey directly in the ear, and he fell crying. He got up, ran inside, and told my mom. I stood there contemplating on whether to hide under some nearby cars or to just run away as fast as I could. I knew that running was not an option, and if I hid, I was just going to get in more trouble. So I went inside and explained what happened and apologized to Corey. This apology is important to me because it is the first time I can remember myself having empathy for someone and having compassion about how someone felt. I think that people reap what they sow. And in world religions, we learned that that was karma. I learned that lesson the hard way. Back in 9th grade, Maceo, Evan, Corey, Alex, and I were walking from lunch to go hang out in the quad. I said something that irritated Corey, then all of a sudden, I saw Corey with the football charging after me. I took off running toward the door and suddenly saw Mr. Willisey walking. I ran toward Mr. Willisey and jokingly said, "Mr. Willisey, please stop Corey." Next, I slammed my face into the tree right outside the library. I do not remember anything after what happened except the fact that I ended up in the nurse's office. Of course, Corey did not purposely make me hit the tree, but I got what I deserved. Was that karma? Who knows? I'm not telling you these things to scare you, but rather to remind you that there are always consequences for our actions. Father John prompted me to think about how reaping what you sow was evident in my own educational experience. Before I came to Episcopal, I went to Pulaski Heights Middle School, which was not challenging for me. I was able to make decent grades there without even trying. When I came to Episcopal in the 7th grade, I tried to maintain those same study habits, which were pretty terrible, and my grades reflected my efforts. When the 9th grade started, I decided to study harder, which showed in my grades. One study habit that I have acquired is to study a section for 30 minutes and then take a 10-minute break and repeat. Sometimes I also find it helpful to listen to music while I study. My grades in the 9th grade were pretty good. and it helped start off my great high school academic career. Like Father John said, you reap what you sow. To continue, most of my classmates and football teammates can tell you that back in my early years at Episcopal, it was hard to get an apology from me. I was stubborn. When I was wrong, I knew it, but I would stick by my wrong and try to make it right. Now that I am more mature, I understand that it is all right to admit that you're wrong. I realize that the faster a situation is healed, then the faster a friendship is healed. While my classmates and teammates are very important to me, my mother and grandmother are the two most influential people who taught me how and why to apologize. They would always make sure that I apologized to people when they found out I did something wrong to someone. One example of this is when I was around 6 years old. My mom made me apologize to this boy at Pinnock Boys and Girls Club because I hit him. Like many children and their parents, my mom and I have not always seen eye to eye. In fact, I have been known to try to challenge her authority. I never let my mother know this, but now that I have thought about it, I see that in most situations in which we disagree, it is most of me being apathetic or just careless. I want to sincerely apologize to her and tell her I will always love her. Apologies can be hard because you do not know how they will be taken, but they are essential to many friendships and relationships. I would like to end with this quotation by Dan Heist. When you realize you made a mistake, make amends immediately. It is easier to eat crow while it's still warm. Thank you.